Welcome to our 2023 summary. Great Aussie Odyssey, our first 12 months. Happy van-anniversary, honey.
Happy anniversary, van-anniversary to you.
It's our wedding anniversary on
Very
the
soon.
18th of February. Our van-anniversary was the 9th of Feb, and I think we're right in the middle of both of those two at the moment, doing this summary vid. So guys, thanks so much for all your questions, loads of them. What we're going to do is we've broken them up into two groups. So there's quite a number of primary questions that were asked a number of different ways. So we're going to focus on them firstly as a discussion, and then we're going to focus on all the other questions, but we will cover everything, bearing in mind it is about 40 degrees, so it's quite hot.
It's getting hotter today, actually, 45, so we'll try and make this as quick and painless and heatless as possible.
Once again, thanks for your questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for watching your answers, or our answers, and let's get into it. So the first one that a lot of people asked us about was the caravan and the truck. After 12 months, do we still feel that that was the best choices? Are we happy with the truck and the van? Those types of questions. So let's quickly focus on the truck. So from my perspective, I absolutely love the truck. It's been faultless. Beast has taken us and pulled beauty around without any issues whatsoever. In hindsight, there's probably not much I really would have changed. Maybe I might have spent a bit more on the suspension rather than the rough country. The rough country's been fine, don't get me wrong.
I was going to say, it's been pretty good.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. And in our Chev build, I actually alluded to the fact that I didn't believe that there was any issues between rough country and any difference other than price between that and Fox and those others. But so I don't have any regrets about rough country at all. Don't get me wrong. But realistically, the truck's been brilliant. The 5-inch lift, maybe in hindsight we might not have necessarily gone that high because it's probably not necessarily that practical, but damn it, turns some heads and it's good fun. What about you, Sammy? What are your thoughts on the truck?
On the truck, it is a bit high for me, being a little bit of a short bum. But on a whole, it has been beautiful. It's been comfortable. I've been able to relax. I've either been able to read or do some form of activity while travelling. Using the canopy just means I've got to get a stool out. But on a whole, pretty good. Yeah,
look, it's like driving an armchair from a driver's point of view. I do love driving it. Sam's driven it a few times. Driver under instruction, of course. Doesn't have a licence. But
I don't drive it very often.
No, very, very rarely. We've put them through the paces, as you'll see when we talk about our 2023 summary. Some of the places that we've taken Beast and Beauty, and both of them have performed well. What about the caravan, honey? What are your thoughts on the caravan?
Love my caravan. In hindsight, I probably would have gone bigger. But
how much bigger?
I would have gone the 22.6.
Okay.
I would have gone as big as I could get with the Great Aussie. But that means we can go again, buy another one if we really want to. But on a whole, it's been great. I've had no issues. We've had no issues. We've had a few little minor things, but on a whole, we're pretty good. Again.
Yeah. We'll talk about those little minor things in a tick, but I can't fault the caravan. Great Aussie, absolutely brilliant. We will go a Great Aussie again. It would need to be a miracle for us not to, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've been pretty painless, travelling wise. It's been great. I mean, a lot of you have issues with your vans and whatnot anyway. I think we've struck it really lucky. Don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We now a couple of people asked us about what do we do to the van other than stock when we prior to purchasing or during the build. the other than the usual, we increased the battery, we increased the solar and that sort of thing. And look, again, on the next van, we would go even more again. And a bit more water would be nice. But there's probably two very important components that we added to the van overstock that we would not go without again.
Yeah, definitely. That is the composting toilet, a game changer. Don't like using that, but it is.
Everyone loves that word, don't they?
No, it is. We don't have to go looking for dump points. It is compost for one, and you can tip the other one down the toilet. It's pretty easy. A public toilet, that is. And the other one,
that's the airbag suspension. Oh man,
how
seriously.
much easier has that made?
Oh. You can pull into a caravan park site, and if it's a little bit undulating, a couple of buttons on the airbags, and we're done. It's just incredible. Just in motion, going over corrugations and things like that, it just keeps the van relatively steady inside. Obviously, still bumps around a bit, but we haven't had any real issues on the back of that.
No, well, nothing moves. So where I've put it in the cupboards and whatnot, realistically, you go to open a cupboard and you very rarely get anything falling out at you, unless your name's Mike.
So yes, compost toilet, airbag suspension, absolutely will not go without it ever again on a caravan build. And then of course, as much solar as you can do, as much water as you can get is pretty much it. But Beauty and Beast, neither of them have caused us any grief whatsoever as such. So so just moving on a little bit now from that, quite a few people have asked us about having the puppies with us. So yeah, traveling with dogs.
No, there's no regret. I think the only regret I would have had if we left Rusty behind. He has got hip dysplasia, and he has had 2 full operations on his hips. And if we did leave him behind with the kids and something else did happen, that would have been my regret, because they would have felt bad. We then need to have that fixed as well.
No brainer for me, and really no brainer for Sam. The kids, we would leave at home before we'd leave our puppies at home. In fact, we did leave our kids at home.
Yeah, we did.
They're adults. The pups. So Rusty is ours. Axel is our daughter Rochelle's, but she's been working, so he's been pretty much travelling with us, and it's getting to the point where I think he's going to be travelling with us a bit longer than just a few months.
Yeah, he is. He's part of the furniture, part of the family, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So
realistically, you've got national parks. People obviously talks about. What do you?
Well, national parks. We had Rochelle with us to start with. So Carragini was easy because Mike and I would go in, and Rochelle and Mike would go in the next day. So we were able to swap it around. Now that we're on our own, we have had the dogs with a pet sitter, and they've been brilliant. Otherwise, one or the other, we just make it work.
Yeah, pet sitters. If you just go on the local community pages, Travelling with Dogs Facebook site, and certainly speak to the visitor centres at each area that you potentially think you might need a dog sitter, they usually will have information for you, and we've certainly utilised it.
Yeah, Facebook is a great resource, so use it. Put that question out there. You're in one particular area, use that resource before, as well as the others as well. Medically, with Rusty, we've got no medication as such for him, but please make sure that you've got all your tick and worming prevention, heartworm, fleas and whatnot.
What's the one we're using?
So we're using Advocate at the moment, but when we go back up north, we will go back to Provecto. I think that was probably a better brand. It is very costly, but I think that works better. So grooming, I groom the dogs myself. They're toy poodles. They do feel the heat. I am self-taught, so don't come asking me to do your dogs. And they're not perfect, but it gets them through, and it's always 2 weeks between a bad haircut and a good one. So
the food obviously on the road is an important one for your pups, particularly if they need sort of special dietary requirements. Axel, we need to be a little bit aware of regards to chicken and the like, but
it's on a single protein diet for sensitive skin. So,
and then obviously access to foods like in the outback and that sort of things. We've done a lot of remote travel, so a good freezer. We've got just a King's tub freezer as a backup to our other fridges and freezers that we've got, but we mainly use that to freeze the dog food, and it's been really good. So
it's been handy. So when you're in a big city, please stock up, particularly if you're going remote.
Yeah. All right. So another question. I think we pretty much covered the van, truck, and pets. So another question that was asked by a few people was, what sort of apps do we use when we're travelling? Now, there's probably only a half a dozen real go-tos. So
Campedia is probably our first choice.
That's for the campsites and things. Yep.
They are evolving and they're getting better and better every day. So we also then would use Wikipedia.
Wikicamps.
Oh, sorry. Why do I always say Wikipedia? Wikicamps.
Which is quite funny because quite a few people refer to it as Wikipedia, and but no, it's Wikicamps. Wikicamps is problematic, has been in recent times, and that's fairly clear in the discussions on Facebook. But Campedia is pretty much our go-to. But as Sam said, they are evolving and getting better. We still think they're better than Wikicamps already.
Definitely.
But some might have different opinions on that, but they definitely will be at some point. And the beauty of Campedia as well is you can actually book sites through their app as well. So they're our go-tos for campsites and the like. Then we've got the fuel and the gas finder apps. Don't worry too much about fuel unless we're in, say, somewhere like a city or a big town where there's multiple options for fuel. So then we might look at the fuel finder and just see
find the cheaper
what's
option.
cheaper. But in in the towns, out in the outback, that sort of thing, where you only got one option. And
two, and there might be half a cent in volume.
Yeah.
Difference.
Don't usually worry too much about fuel. And then the gas finder is good because we want to keep our 9 kilos. So when we're filling them,
with our
connection, they do have different connections. So with the gas finder, it'll just tell us where we can get those filled rather than the drop and go exchanges. So what else have we got? So
you got your HEMA.
HEMA maps, really good for off-road and remote driving. I usually run the HEMA map together with Google Maps anyway, so it gives us a bit of an idea. And then Sam and I do like a lot of bushwalking and hiking and the like, so then we've got the All Trail one. So they're our main go-to apps, I would say.
Yep.
Okay, so let's have a look at 2023. What do you think? We'll start breaking down.
Oh wow. Where do I start?
Yeah, so let's. All right, so
from the beginning.
So, well, before we sort of break it down, if you have a look over Sam's shoulder there, you'll see the map basically of where we started in Melbourne, went down to Tassie. From Tassie, we made our way back to Melbourne, back up to Sydney, across the mountains. Pretty much went straight coast to coast. So
east to west.
So east to west. So we up over the Blue Mountains. through New South Wales, Broken Hill, crossed the border into South Australia, made our way up the Unadata track to Alice Springs for the Fink Desert Race.
So cool.
Did the East-West McDonald Ranges, took the Mereenie Loop across into Kings Canyon, Uluru, took the Great Central Road across into WA.
That was even better.
There's a lot to discuss all through all that. Into WA, and then we're still in WA. So, and we've been here since about the beginning of July or mid-July last year. So, last year, 2023. We are doing this. It's in February. And there's a lot to unpack as far as WA is concerned. So there's a little bit of a map breakdown there. So let's start with Tasmania. All right, so the 9th of Feb we finished up work. Sam and I both left jobs we loved, and if you want to know more about leaving jobs, moving on, funding ourselves on the road and all that, just reach out. We won't sort of go too heavily into that. We do touch on it. There is a question in there amongst that. We touch on it, but if you want more info, just reach out and we can answer a bit more on that.
Definitely.
Hit the Spirit of Tasmania on the 11th of February. And
that was so good.
That was pretty cool.
It was exciting. It was new. We had the best sunrise as well to start our trip.
And a relatively flat seas over and relatively back. So that was pretty good. And then we had, 5 weeks in Tassie?
5 weeks, needed longer.
Yeah.
Totally needed longer. So if you are planning a trip to Tassie, take as much time as you possibly can. There is so much to see, so much to do. Loads of free camping.
In terms of how much time, what realistically, we had 5 weeks, what realistically would you have liked to have had?
Well, we did say this, we'd probably go 3 months longer, probably do the whole summer month, I guess. Summer season.
We'll definitely be back in Tassie at some point in the journey. Originally it was only a shakedown trip for the truck and the van, and we were going back to work for 18 months before we actually pulled the pin, but we just decided the Christmas before.
I'm not waiting.
No, let's just do it. So for various reasons we made that call. So but unfortunately Spirit of Tasmania you do have to book months ahead, and therefore the 5 weeks we had to commit to, even though we weren't going back to work once we got back to Melbourne. So let's with Tassie. The weather was spectacular. We the whole time, surprisingly, and keeping an eye on the weather is a big thing when you're travelling too full time.
Definitely.
But what was your favourite, say, campsite or a couple of campsites in Tassie?
I loved Bruny Island, doing the Foodie Trail, and loved doing the hikes up. I can't remember
through
where
Freycinet and the one out of around Arthur Peninsula, what was that called? The Cape Hoy.
Cape Hoy one.
Was spectacular.
That was such a good hike. And where could I live would have been St Helens, so Bay of Fires.
Absolutely love the East Coast, St Helens, Bay of Fires.
So
Swimcart Beach for me was probably my favourite campsite, although we did really love the deep southwest. Right in the wilderness was pretty spectacular as well. Absolutely love Tasmania. It's only about 13 hours to drive around the whole, if you follow the main highway all around the whole state, but it's so diverse, and you just, you look at some of these photos and they bring back some great memories. But absolutely, Tassie, put that one on your list.
Definitely.
It is a ripper. So after that we back to Melbourne, and we just tied up a few loose ends, finished our pack up and all that, and we then picked up our daughter Rochelle. She has been working pretty much since she left school. So when we told the kids that we were going on the road, she sort of said, can I come too for a gap year for 12 months or whatever? And so we've gone, fine, okay.
We made it work.
No, exactly. We've got the rooftop tent and the caravan, so she pretty much took residency in the rooftop tent.
Fantastic.
and which is the penthouse suite when Rochelle's in it. It's the doghouse when I'm in it.
Yeah.
And then and we picked up the pups because we didn't take either of them to Tassie with us. Originally it was only going to be a holiday anyway, but we picked up Rusty. Axel came with us as well, and as a troop of 5, off we went, and we made our way up slowly to Sydney to catch up with family up there. Went to the Caravan and Camping Super Show. Did a few things around Sydney. Rochelle's never been to Sydney, so I showed her around there. After that, what do? We up over the Blue Mountains.
Yeah.
We slowly made our way across, so we don't travel very quickly, but we made our way through New South Wales. What do? Cowra for the Cowra breakout and the Japanese gardens.
Dubbo Zoo.
Dubbo Zoo, and of course Dubbo Zoo was Mother's Day, so the kids all put in for Sammy to go and feed the giraffes and elephants and things.
That was really good.
So
Loved
pretty
it.
cool.
Go back and watch it. It's a zoo. Did a whole vid just on Dubbo Zoo. It was so good.
Yeah, Dubbo Zoo was great. Loved it. Probably the best, I think, apart from Singapore Zoo. It's probably the best zoo that I've ever been to, and certainly I think it's the best zoo in Australia. Then after that, what do? We made our way. Oh, that's actually through Cobar, and then through Nyngan and then into Cobar, and that was where we hit the outback for the first time. The red soil started coming through.
Cobar.
So
yeah,
from
definitely.
Cobar and then down into Menindee Lakes, we had some great camping down there, up into Broken Hill.
Sunsets were amazing.
They were over the lake, yes. Broken Hill, which was pretty spectacular, a fun city, love Broken Hill. Crossed the border briefly into South Australia, but that was only to make our way up through Port Augusta to the Unadilla track.
Oh, Mike's bucket list moment.
So we
He was so bloody excited. He was almost like a child in a candy store.
Yeah, so we went through Roxby Downs, Andamuka, through the Opal Fields at Andamuka, and then onto the Unadilla track, and that for me was an absolute bucket list. It was the first big test for the truck and the van, and look, apart from a couple of rocks going through the pipe, the plastic piping at the outlets. That was about it, and that was easily fixed. I'd become a bush plumber pretty quickly. But the Unadilla track was spectacular. Into Cooper very quirky. Sam and I had been there before, but it's still as quirky as it ever is.
Yep.
Up to Alice Springs for the Fink Desert Race, and again another bucket list moment.
Another kid in the candy store moment.
So good, and so you'll see some of the photos in here.
But even still, the adrenaline rush. I mean, I'm not into racing or anything like that. The adrenaline rush or vibe was really, really good. It does draw you in.
Which probably brings us to Alice Springs. Alice Springs is an enigma that everyone seems to complain about youth crime or don't go out in the dark. Well, look, I'm going to tell you now, we've been to Alice Springs a few times. We absolutely love Alice Springs. We've never had an issue with it. If you want to walk around at 3 o'clock in the morning around town, you're looking for trouble, and that can happen anywhere, in any city, in any town. So we've never had a problem with it. Love Alice Springs. And to be actually brutally honest, our interactions with the Aboriginal people and some of the other locals around Alice Springs have always been exceptionally positive and respectful. It's been great. So I'd go back to Alice Springs in a heartbeat. Absolutely love Alice Springs. It's a great little town. So then after Fink Desert Race, mind you, I actually should also mention Chambers Pillar National Park. Hard to get at outside of Alice, but absolutely worth the spot. And that was kind of for us was that wow moment, that our why. That's where we really realised that we are on the road full time. This is us. This is what we're going to be doing, and it was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Definitely. I think that's where we started to really chill down and actually embrace the whole traveling. and being in a small area together. So
Yeah. The East and West Macdonald Ranges, pretty iconic and absolutely brilliant. The East Macdonald Ranges is sort of the poor cousin. Everyone does the West, but the East, I think, is just as spectacular and absolutely worth the look.
definitely.
West Macdonald Ranges. Now, we're always good for a challenge, so rather than take the long drive all the way around on the tarmac, we decided to hit the Morini Loop.
We'd been told not to a few times, but we went and did it anyway.
And,
No issues at all.
well, except for...
Actually, we were chasing a storm.
well, we're
sorry,
trying to avoid a storm.
the storm was heading towards us.
Yeah.
So we were heading into it. So we were literally racing towards it, which
Yeah.
gave us the opportunity to see the rain on Uluru.
Uluru. So, Kings Canyon, Uluru, after a bit of rain, spectacular. By now we're in the middle of the year, so it was obviously not unseasonal for it to rain, but it's certainly not unseasonal for it to be cold. And it was fairly cool, surprisingly. But the rain had brought out the wildflowers and things as well, which we certainly managed to witness a little bit later on. So after the iconic Kings Canyon, Uluru, and the Olgas as well. Again, Sam and I have been there before, but
Didn't get to do the Olgas last time, so doing the Olgas this time, was that wow factor and that special moment.
yeah, brilliant. Did the Sounds of Silence dinner
Again.
which we would do again and again.
Doesn't, yeah.
Doesn't get
No,
old.
Yeah, doesn't disappoint.
No, I love it. And I got to learn the didgeridoo, and damn, am I good at it now?
No.
Oh, I think I am. Maybe I should.
No.
Maybe I should get it out and play.
No, please don't.
Didgeridoo.
No, please don't.
Comment if you want me to do a video just on my didgeridoo play.
It'll last whole 20 seconds.
Anyway,
It can be a short. There you go.
after Uluru, the Great Central Road was closed because of the rain and flooding.
Yes.
But
To wait it out.
we had to wait that out. But it was only a brief wait, and then we got onto the GCR. Very, again, up for a challenge and very pensive. People have told us a lot about the road condition, or the very ordinary road condition on the Northern Territory side. Well, I'll tell you what, because of the flooding, the graders have been out.
We striked it lucky.
The graders have been out, and they've been out hard. And so all the way across, it was almost like a highway. A couple of spots where it was a bit rocky and rutted, but generally speaking, it was pretty damn good. And the experience
Some of
was
those
spectacular.
rocky parts, or the washed out parts, you could almost swim in. They were pretty deep.
Yeah, and but some of the bypass roads and that were pretty good, so
Yep.
that was all fine. But some great camps on the GCR. We would absolutely do the GCR again and again. The free camps on there are spectacular. So.
That they are.
And the wildlife, you got camels, dingoes, whatever else.
And stars for days. Oh, you don't settle for a 5-star
When you got billions
accommodation.
of stars.
You got billions of stars.
Yeah,
so
billion stars.
take your camera, but one that we haven't worked out how to do yet. So
Yep.
still got plenty of time to practice.
The and availability of fuel with the roadhouse, that's fine. You just got to. They do have certain opening hours. Just be aware of that. But GCR was spectacular into WA, and like I said, we've been there now
6 months or more, 7
so
months.
7 months. Yeah, 7 into 8 months now.
Yeah,
And we will be leaving WA briefly
soon.
but we'll be coming back again this year. So we'll talk about that in the plans.
Yep.
Down to Kalgoorlie, we've got the truck serviced and down there, and a few bits and pieces sorted, and then we made our way up through the middle of WA to Exmouth. Hit the coast there, the Ningaloo coast again. It was a bucket list. We didn't strike it in the best conditions. It was,
Ningaloo, no.
but we still got to see the whale sharks, the humpback whales,
Diving,
diving the Navy Pier. So yeah,
walking.
and then we were going to head down.
Loads.
Then we're going to head down the coast to Perth, but we didn't.
But we went to Carnegie instead, which is, if you look on your map or our map, it is smack bang in the middle of WA. It is, you could not get any more remote than Carnegie.
So we've got a mini.
So remote.
So we've got a mini series of 5 vids. City Slickers Go Outback.
Yes.
On our YouTubes. At Carnegie, we did primarily the caretaking role, but we also got to mix it up with the muster as well. So we were over there during the cattle muster in a remote cattle station. Absolutely sensational, ripping experience. Watch the City Slickers Go Outback mini series.
Might not be
of
your cup of tea, but watch it. It is so good.
Yeah. After Carnegie, so we actually pegged down in Carnegie for what is it, about 10 weeks or something?
Yeah, just under 10 weeks or 10 weeks.
Something like that. So, and I should point out, again, we'll talk about it in our 2024 plans, but we are going back to Carnegie. So
Can't help himself.
Then after that, through people that we'd met whilst at Carnegie, that opened up. It was kind of the experience that just kept giving. So that opened up the opportunity for us to head down to Grass Patch just north of Esperance for the grain harvest, and that was a really cool experience. Got to check out the big combine headers and the chaser bins, all pretty cool. So
great toys to play with.
Big toys to play
Well, we
with.
didn't get to play, we got to spectate, but oh my goodness, what it'd be like to put your hands on those controls and run it. I'd be good.
Sam thought it was hard to get up in a beast.
Yes.
Pretty decent machinery, and tell you what, they're on a par with some of the bigger machinery that we'd seen up at the mines up north as well. So after that, we made our way along the coast. So basically, along the south coast, and we met up with a couple of friends along the way, and then we got to experience yet another farming experience, aquaculture. So this time it was the Blue Ridge Marron and Trout Farm in Manjimup, and it was such a cool time. Guys,
So
again,
good.
thanks very much for that opportunity.
Yes, your hospitality was amazing.
Yeah, so it was that. Then we made our way up into Perth for Christmas New Year. We caught up with family and friends. About 5 weeks roughly we were in Perth, and just chilled out, and we just did the usual Perth things, like you'd go to Rottnest Island, and we did the sit around the city and Kings Park, and got on the river and that sort of thing. So you'll see a little bit of that, but that was and that pretty much saw us out for 2023, and then and we just soon after, or sort of January, beginning of Jan.
Yeah, it was about the 5th of Jan we left. 8th of Jan
something
we
like
left.
that. Yeah. We got back on the road. As I said, it is now 17th of February. It is today, so there's a few weeks of footage and in our travels that will form part of our 2024 series. But that's pretty much us done for the first 12 months of travel. Fit lots in, but we haven't done much. That's what it's like. It's kind of we've
Scratch the surface.
just scratched the surface, and we've got so much more to do.
Yeah. What
So-
else you got to talk about? Because it's getting hot in here.
It is getting hot. But just quickly, let's our 2024 plans. Let's have a quick chat about those. Any issues that we've had over the 2023 season. Just quickly on that, in Tassie, I dropped the front of the van thanks to the jockey wheel bending, and I'd say that was possibly the front end was a bit overweight. Whatever the case may be, jockey wheel was weak. I've got rid of that, changed that, so that was a big issue for us. The Stone Stomper, absolutely recommend the Stone Stomper if you're going to be travelling, particularly off back dirt roads. It helps minimise the stones and things that are smashing up against your van, and potentially if you've got a back window. We don't, but if you've got a back window, potentially breaking your back window.
Yeah, if you've got one of those stone guards, the rocks actually bounce off that straight up onto your car.
So not a big fan of stone guards. Stone Stomper's brilliant. Unfortunately, we did have a mishap on the Nadella. After the Nadella on the Stewart Highway. We snapped one of the D-clips somewhere along the line. Dropped the Stone Stomper, which was rubbing against the road. One corner of it was rubbing against the road, just shredded it, so we had to get a new one. But that's no fault of Stone Stomper or the design or anything like that. It's just one of those things that happens. But the Stone Stomper, absolutely brilliant. What else have we got? And then obviously I alluded to the stones and the water pipes, and I'll fix those anyway. But that's pretty much it. So 2024. Going to talk about what our plans are in 24.
Okay, so we are sort of slowly making our way up to Carnarvon, and from there we will then be heading back down to Perth. We will be.
What are we doing in Perth?
Perth. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Well, what are you doing in Perth?
Bucket list, not for travel as such, just in life. I've been busting to get to a Pink concert, so going to the Pink concert with my sister and Rochelle. So we'll do that on the 2nd of March, and then we start heading towards east.
Yeah, so we've got to get Rochelle back to Melbourne. We've got to be back in Melbourne for a couple of things. So and we're picking up some friends to come travelling with us. So we're going to have some tag-alongs. That'll actually be a bit of fun.
You'll see them in the background.
Well, we might even have them right up front if they want to. We'll see.
Up to them.
But so we'll only be back in Melbourne. We're going to take about 6 weeks to go from Perth to Melbourne, and we're going to stop in with some great friends in Adelaide on the way through, do a couple of other things, and then get into Melbourne. About 3 weeks in Melbourne, catch up with family and friends again there, pick up our travelling buddies, and then we're going to fast track it straight back up the middle via Coober quick stop in at Uluru and the Olgas, and then up to Alice. And then we'll slow down. We're going to make our way up the middle, turn left at Katherine, cross the border at Kununurra. At this stage, we're going to do the Gib this season.
Exciting.
See how we go there.
Join us. If you want to join.
Yep. So that'll be by then that'll be about towards the end of May, ish. Yeah, mid to late May. Then we'll continue on down the coast through Broome, and then we'll we're going to leave our friends probably Port Hedland, maybe Karratha, and then we're going to make a beeline to Carnegie again for this season. Can't wait for that. And our friends will continue on down the coast. Then they're going to come across during the 5 weeks of muster, so that we'll be in the caretaking role for it'll be about 4 months, I think, this time, won't it? Roughly, it's about 4 months, but 5 weeks of that will be the actual muster. So we're going to join the muster crew. Our friends are going to come across and take over the caretaking role for that 5 weeks of muster to experience that. I know it's getting hot. We're nearly there. And then they're going to continue their travels down south around Esperance, and that we'll finish the caretaking role, and then we'll come down, we'll meet them in Kalgoorlie and head back east again. Our plan is to be in Sydney for Christmas 2024. So that's it in a nutshell. As has happened already in 23, things change, things alter, but that's how we like it.
It's travelling for you.
So it is getting hot. What do you want to do?
The puppies aren't coping, so we either crank the aircon on, or I can get these puppies in the water.
Let's go to the beach. We'll get in. I can tell you what. We'll go. We've got a few more questions lots more questions that have come through, and we'll answer those. But let's go down. Let's go down and hit the beach. So we'll leave this here as part 1, I guess, and then we'll throw part 2 in with all the other questions, and that way then you can
and we can put them up together.
Yeah, we'll throw them up together.
A couple of hours between.
So for this moment, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll head over.
See you at the beach.
See you down the beach. Cheers.